gets overwhelmed. I want us to focus on this again. Everything we do revolves around students. So when we get overwhelmed or we think about, oh, I could never do this and we don't have that, whatever, let's once again focus our sights on the students, because whether we're talking about pedagogy, whether we're talking about social emotional learning, whether we're talking about teacher leadership, it all has to point to the students, because no matter what we do, we have to measure it on how it affects student learning. So that's just one of those little things where we focus back. Okay, so what is teacher leadership? Well, just like the cereal aisle, there are about 752 definitions of teacher leadership out there. But really what I want to focus on are 3 areas that we have to consider when we're talking about teacher leadership. And those 3 areas that a person possesses that makes them a coach, makes them a leader, is their knowledge, their skills, and their disposition. Now, let me ask you this question. Have you ever known someone who was so smart and so skilled, but a big old fat jerk? Yep, I have. I have for sure. Or have you known somebody who is literally just sweet as pie and just, a delight, but they kind of struggled in the area of the skills kind of thing? Absolutely. We're all very different, just like snowflakes and just like our children. We all vary in those areas. And the thing that matters is that it doesn't have to stay that way, because by the proper support, we can work on our disposition, we can work on our skills, and we can work on our knowledge level. So those are kind of exciting because it's something that we can build in all of us and in ourselves too. So having said that, let's take our first poll. This is a Slido, and it's one of my favorite virtual interactive apps. And at the end, if you want to stay and let me show you how to do this free app, I would be glad to show you. It's so super cool. But anyway, you can go to slido.com in another tab and put in the code 850072, or you can just scan that QR code with your phone and you can do it that way. So this is going to be a word cloud, and you can answer more than one time. But what characteristics or characteristic is present in a true teacher leader? Ooh, empathy. Look at that one. And as you know, in a word cloud, generally the biggest one is the one that said the most. I also want to show you on the top right-hand corner, there is a little person icon and there's a number that will show you how many people in your meeting or your class is answering, so that you can kind of take a gauge and either hurry people up or ask if there's anybody needs help, or to get a kind of idea of where you want to, you can start moving on. So we see flexibility, honesty, excellent listener. Yes. It's not ever going to be enough to just hear someone. It's going to have to be an active, excellent listener. Sure. Flexible, honest, positivity. These are great. Oh, I love willingness to practice what they preach. I literally just started a blog on Friday, which is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. It was kind of my ode to my 50th birthday. I was like, okay, I've got to and one of the reasons I did it is because I have some girlfriends that I have been pushing to do these things. And I thought, man, you know what? I keep telling them to start their blog and do this and do that. And I don't do it myself. So I had to be willing to do what I preach. So I put it out there. So yeah, that's something that even, some of us most seasoned people have to struggle with too. A servant leader. I love that. I love that. Lead by action, selfless, patience. You guys, unbiased. Oh, someone who tries. Yeah. These are fantastic. Charisma. Yes. And that charisma thing too is that it's funny how that can be in different ways. It doesn't have to be someone real loud and flashy or whatever. People can have charisma. It's just those people that you feel like you want to listen to, you feel like you want to sit, you feel like you want to eat them up with a spoon. Modesty, love that. Love that. Fantastic. Yeah, so all of these things are part of that true teacher leader. So we have to be willing to be able to see those things in ourselves and in other people and really pick those out to know who can lead in what area. So let's do our first activity where we're going to start building and really fine-tuning what we feel like a teacher leader is, should be, whatever, but let's build a portrait of a teacher leader for us to be able to reflect back on. Now, remember, the 3 areas we're really going to hone in on are the knowledge set, the skills set, and the disposition of a teacher leader. So Deborah Catherine. All right, so we're going to go to our action agenda, and we are going to go down to portrait of a teacher leader, okay? So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to show you what it looks like here. And Jackie, would you be able to build me a couple of breakout rooms?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, let me think here. Let's do, I opened up the wrong.
You've got 37 participants.
37 participants. Okay. So let's do 7 groups. That'll give us about 5 in each-ish.
Okay.
All right. And for some reason, guys, I don't know why I have to link. I'm going to have to link that other one. I gave you the one for this morning. So let me give you this link here in the chat. I'll have to change that link. So in the chat is the link for the slides that you'll need for this breakout room. Okay. And this, I messed up the first group by doing this, but when you open this up, the first slide is just the introduction and some directions. The second slide is going to be a graphic organizer. And I truly love graphic organizers because research shows that it takes us about 3 seconds to decide whether we want to read something or not. So graphic organizers are really great when you're trying to persuade people to do something, or when you're trying to get people to participate in something or to read something quickly. So we're going to use some graphic organizers. Here's one on teacher leaders, and here is another on teacher leaders. And it's kind of small, so I gave you the actual article that it came from so that you can look at that. Now, group slides start on the 4th one, but they're all labeled group 1, group 2, group 3, okay? So what I would like for you to do in your groups is you're going to go to your slide and you're going to create an infographic on what your group thinks a teacher leader looks like. So we're building that portrait of a teacher leader. You can use words, you can pull in images, you can do whatever you want, but this is you and your team really pulling together and really forming an infographic of a portrait of a teacher leader, okay? Once again, pay attention to the slide numbers in the slides, not the actual slide numbers that they are, because there's some informational things ahead of time.
So Deb, clarification, will there be 7 of those slides for our 7 rooms?
Yes. So I have all the way from group 1 down to group 7.
Got it.
Yes. Are there any questions or clarifications before we go in? And I want to tell you, if you have a question or you need clarified, somebody else does too. So don't be afraid to pipe up.
How long will they have?
I say let's give them 12 minutes.
Okay.
And in your breakout rooms, generally we like to have, a couple roles. One is no scribe. That's the person who's going to pull up the slide, share their screen, and type in. We also need a facilitator just to keep us on track and not talk about what we had for lunch, which I would rather talk about for lunch. Timekeeper. Timekeeper is going to keep us on that 12-minute track, but also look for host messages from Zoom, and then a reporter who will be able to share those things when we come back together. Okay, questions, comments, concerns, funny faces?
One thing that I noticed from the morning breakout room was that we weren't able to share a screen in the breakout rooms.
Yes, and I think she did enable that. Let me see here. All right, I think you can now. I just put in multiple sharers. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. If nothing else, let's send them off into cyberspace, Jackie.
There they go. This is a great way to do an interactive piece through Zoom. I'm always trying to think of those. So I love that. Good job.
Well, I do love to have interactivity because I
Mhm.
sit on a Zoom for 45 minutes and listen to someone talk. You know what I mean? Really,
Exactly.
they have to kind of get in, especially when it's this large of a subject. They kind of have to get in and start pulling things apart with themselves. So I try to do a lot of that kind of thing in these. The only thing with Google Slides is that occasionally someone will get on the wrong slide and starts typing in, or they can move things around, but it's a free way to interact. And then I, as the leader, can watch as they do things. So I
Mhm.
go and see which group needs help or hasn't put anything in there, and then I can pop in. So sometimes it makes it easier to manage too.
That's great. Well, I'm going to jump in and out of those rooms and
Absolutely.
hopefully everything's running smoothly.
Okay,
So
Jackie,
far,
thank you.
awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Jim, how's the afternoon people over on the other side going?
Good, good. I'm kind of hanging, like I say, with you. So it's
Okay.
yeah. So but I'm back and forth. I'm back and forth, but it's great. You're super. I was
Oh,
just saying that one person, they just joined their breakout room. So anyway,
good.
yeah, this is going to be I mean, it's a powerhouse day with you and this other visual strategy. So
I love the visual strategies. That's awesome.
yeah, this lady's doing a really good job. Brittany Petty, she's from the Kentucky Historical Society. So
Wow.
it's kind of goes this. I think there's a good way to connect both. So it's good. And Jackie is fantastic. So
I can tell already.
yeah,
I can-
she worked. She has a lot of experience and was at KDE prior to coming to us, and then retired. And then so she's doing some contractual work for us, but she's very conscientious and wants to do a good job. So she's gonna do well. So
I can already tell she has a great personality.
oh yeah. I agree.
Yeah, so many of us are going to fail retirement. It's just hard. I think there are some of us who just will never be able to not work.
No, that's me. And then I'm not even gonna. I don't even want to talk about it really. It's just kind of keep going, you know.
I agree. Well, that's what I said was my mother's downfall. When she retired, she just did not do anything. And that is not something that I'm never going to sit in a chair and wait.
Yeah, my dad is 79 and he still pours concrete.
He still pours concrete?
Oh yeah, he works in construction. He's a lot more picky now about jobs that he will do, but he still wants to be in his mind, I think that is the thing that keeps him going, because he's constantly saying, if you sit down, it's over. So he's constantly wanting to go, which is a good thing, you know.
That is a great thing.
Yeah, and so I use that as a kind of my mantra. You just got to keep going and going and going. And that power nap thing that Wendy was talking about in the first thing, which is a hilarious story, that's one of his things because he watches the news all the time. And my mother and dad both dropped out of school in the 8th grade. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm first college graduate. You know this already, but he is very well read. And my mother went back and got her GED, of course, and then not so many years ago, really, but
my mom did the same thing. Yeah.
He was talking about this power nap thing and about the people in China that they do a power nap because their skyscrapers are so big. By the time they get in the elevator at the bottom floor and they ride up, they've got 90 seconds. So that was it was a funny thing. So last week we were in the MindSpark training and somebody said to the group, so y'all got 90 seconds to do this. So I'd already told Wendy about it. And I said, I'm going to take a power nap. So anyway, so there you go. So then the MindSpark people heard me say
where that came from.
Oh, the MindSpark people heard me say it. They said power nap. So anyway, it turned into this big joke. You've got 90 seconds. Go ahead and get 40 winks. You know. So anyway, that came from my dad. And it's just you need to ask her about it because she's been on Zooms with me with both my parents, and my dad had brought chickens out and stuff like that. But it's good.
That's so sweet.
I'm trying to see how many we've got. Well, it only shows, I think we got 38 or 39.
I think we had I think so too.
which is perfect.
Thing into these. There's that group one. My group one always I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, Deb, this is a great session you've done today. So
Oh,
mean,
I
it's
hope so.
really-
I hope that you're happy with it.
it's needed. Teachers need to know that they, well, and that's why we refer to them as teacher leaders and not just teachers. I think teachers need to know the importance of how they lead from anywhere. And that's anybody in a school system or a district, they just kind of lead from where they are, even a cafeteria worker, bus driver,
Yeah.
custodian. So it's a great session. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm so
So-
glad you're happy with it.
Absolutely.
I don't know how I did that link wrong.
Well,
I bet
I'll
there's
jump back. I'll jump back on here, Deb.
Go right ahead. Caroline, stop. My daughter's throwing a fit, so I was.
That's okay. That's all good.
And all that. And I like to talk. I like to talk about the image, and I like to get all the answers and like tell the story. But they're not going to remember it, right? But if they do it and they practice it, and you're kind of looking over and they're discussing it, there's no right or wrong. They learn a lot from that. It's also process focused rather than product. You don't want to just
I'm not sure how much time we have left.
learning and the discussion.
Let's see, Deb. I don't know. I can't remember what we give them. Did we give them 10
Give them
minutes?
12 minutes, but I think
Typically,
It's probably I think we're probably within 3 or 4 minutes, probably
I would think
probably
so,
a couple
too.
minutes.
okay.
right? That's not going to actually happen.
I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick. So
Go right
I'll be
ahead.
right back.
Deb, you want them to go to 35, 135?
If that, yeah, that's fine. I don't remember, I just said 12 minutes and I didn't remember exactly what time we said that, so.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know if we were sharing a brain or what, but then about 7 minutes into it, I was like, oh boy, what time was that?
Let them go ahead, because I see some people still working and.
They are. I just went through all the rooms and they're all
Awesome.
working. It's
Awesome.
funny. Some of them they've shared their screen and they're all talking. It's real loud. Some people decided to each look at it individually and they're very quiet. It's really interesting. And then some of them are looking at other people's screens. They're like, hey, they're doing this. So it's competitive.
And then you have like group one. I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, better check on group one.
They've just been kind of sitting there.
We like our activities to stay in.
Are they about to come back there?
Well, Jackie came back in and said she was going to give them till 1:35. So there she is.
Okay,
So
good deal. It's all good. Hey,
Yeah.
Jackie.
Has a screen, has their whole slide full.
Oh, it's just not showing up for,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
wonder if they're on the other link. I bet they went on the other link instead of this one, but that's okay.
You want, I don't know
It's
what-
okay.
I don't know how to fix that. So I was going to finish telling you about the time. So I said to one group, I said, you've got about 5 minutes left. And one of the people who must be real, like left brain, she said, we have 4 minutes. I said, okay, great. And I set my watch.
They called you out there, Jackie, didn't they?
I know. I was so
Funny.
appreciative.
That's
That
funny.
is
Because
hilarious.
Deb and I were guessing there. We were like, how many? I said, 2-3 minutes. So anyway, we'd have got slammed if I'd have popped on it. That's pretty good though. I like it.
I don't know where they are.
Huh. Well, do you want me to have them to at least take a picture of it so they'll have it?
Yeah, go ahead, just in case it gets lost. How? Being mad? Mm-mm.
Okay, they're good. They're going to take a screenshot. She was like, "There's not a button I'm supposed to push." I'm like, just take a picture. Basically, they used words to describe, sort of like a word bank, and it
Okay.
won't be hard to.
I don't know why it's not showing up unless they did it somewhere else.
I don't know. I see the others on theirs.
That's crazy.
I know.
Hmm.
You do you think you want me to go ahead and click it and then they'll
Yeah.
have about 30 seconds? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Dr. Evans, the recording started and stopped, so I restarted it. And then I didn't pause it for the breakout rooms, but
That'll be okay. We're all good. We're good.
What is he saying?
That's not right because they're just on the list. They're just trying to get first thing. What do you see? Dog, cat.
Record.
So it looks like we're all back. And I would love watching the slides as you were all creating. It's so fun to watch people, like how different groups think about things. So it's like a visible learning thing for me to see how you think and how you process. Once again, being able to use Google Slides is a free way of being able to have your kids interact, but also to be able for you to watch as they're doing it as well. So I don't know what happened to group one. They have in their breakout room, they have it up, but it did not come up across my screen for some reason. So if group one, can you just unmute and maybe show us the picture on your phone, or just tell us about what you talked about with your teacher leader?
Sure thing. I was trying to figure out a way to share that, but I don't think it's going to let me. So let me, can I share content? I could share my picture maybe.
Sure.
No, it won't let me. So that's okay. So basically, I'll turn this around and let y'all see what we did. We really just kind of used words
Okay.
to describe what we were doing and what we were thinking a teacher leader would be. So if I can pull up, I'm working off of an iPad that I'm not really good at working with, so bear with me.
And
So
Melissa,
we said that a teacher leader would be open-minded, willingness to ask for help, all inclusive, would be there for all children, be an encourager and an encourager of everyone around them, be there for all staff, would be enthusiastic, happy to be in the school environment, willing to help in any capacity that is needed. And not just what they like, but what is needed, and being a hard worker and being non-biased. And I think a couple of those we took from the Slido slide that we had earlier, because we like those. So
No, and that's great, because that's what we want to do, is start generating these ideas so that we can really hone in on what, because when you think about all yourself, there might be things that you're, one area you're concentrating on, but when we share ideas like this, it kind of like sparks those things of, oh yeah, I like that. Oh yeah, I like that. It really helps us hone in that idea of what we want a teacher leader to look like. So thank you so much, group one. I'm sorry it didn't come up. That's the first time I've ever seen that happen. So
well, I'm sorry. It's probably one of my settings and something I need to enable, and I haven't done it yet. So, but I'm learning.
well, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, group two. Look at, they put on their own little character on there. I love it. Group two, let me hear what you have to say.
All right. So the first thing we thought of, we were like, shoot, an infographic in 10 minutes. And then we're like, oh, we could do like a person and show what each kind of part, what they're doing. So that's kind of where we started. We did, of course, like the head, you got have to be knowledgeable. It's kind of hard to listen to someone if you feel like they don't know what they're talking about, that kind of thing. How can they lead
Sure.
you? Observant with the eyes, good listener with the ears. They're kind with their words, but also a good communicator alongside that. Empathetic in their heart, hardworking with their hand, and a servant leader with their hands. And they are a trailblazer by their feet. And then we put by our little person on the side that he's like following our person, and because he leads by example. So that's his buddy in the back saying, yeah, I'm following.
That's the hype guy, right? The hype guy.
Yes, exactly. Everybody has to have one.
I love how you did the person and then put it around the parts of their body that would hone in on that. So I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's also the idea of being a trailblazer. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a new trail. It's just a trail that no one else is taking, the initiative for. So I love that. Thank you so much, group two. Oh, group three, let me hear you.
Oh, I think I got elected to do this. We started off with the image of a cheerleader, someone who is an encourager, and so that's what's there in the center. And even when the little third guy on the arrow is, not excelling, having a little downward trend, still cheering them on. The graphic on the left with the little green guy in the circle, kind of all the things that a teacher leader has to have: vision, goals, education, be interested, their values, their skills, all of that works together. They have to be open-minded and a good listener. A facilitator, that's the guy with all of the information behind them, collecting that information and helping others organize it. And being a researcher, the plans, the data collecting and things like that. So we just
I love that you
a lot of things we talked about.
Well, I love that you have the research thing on there too, because yeah, that's a big thing that we want to lead on research-based ideals and things like that too. And the little graphic with the coach and the cheer, with the one little guy going down, and then yeah, because we have to do that where somebody starts at the bottom, someone has been up and is going down. So this is really, really fantastic. Thank you, Group 3. Okay, look at these. You guys got so creative. Group 4.
I don't mind to talk if nobody in my group wants to take that on. We were talking about it right at the end and didn't really make a decision on who was going to have to talk, so I don't care.
That's okay.
So we kind of took different aspects and threw in some images and some little bubbles to talk about the 3 things that were in the slides earlier: the disposition, skills, and knowledge. And so we felt like it was important to be relatable, and a lot of these have been said, but just to say them again,
Sure.
Good communication skills, to be genuine as a person, to
Very
not
much.
feel like somebody's being super fake with you just to get you to do what they want you to do.
Absolutely.
Empathetic. Available, which is also something that we might not think about being an important disposition trait. But if somebody's going to ignore you and not answer your email for, a week, that's really frustrating. To always be positive. And then we talked about skills, and I know knowledge is a separate category, but still to be knowledgeable and to have those skills is very important, and to come prepared. I think we've all been in meetings where we're like, okay, they clearly just started this like 5 minutes ago. And they didn't come prepared for this. So, that's important, and it shows.
It does.
To be effective. And then under knowledge, we said, well, obviously it's important to have content knowledge and standards knowledge, but it's also really important to understand the students that you're working with and the student body as a whole, because obviously I live in a very rural area, and the needs of my students are going to be different from students that live in an urban area. And depending on the size of the school, that's going to change the dynamic as well. And so we just thought that that was super important to include.
It is super important, and it's one that I haven't seen yet today, and that I wasn't even, thinking about on the forefront. But, when we talk about preparing our students for their future, I almost don't even want to say college and career ready, because I feel like college is a part of getting career ready. So we're really wanting our kids to be career ready. And the fact of the matter is that we all, even in education or wherever, we need to know our customer. And that's the most important thing, is knowing our customer, and our students are our customers. And so to have the understanding, the perspective of them is huge. So I love that you put that on there. Nice work. Nice work. I love that you also put this down. And, sometimes when you are, not even sometimes, I think all the time, when you are tackling a topic as big as leadership, it really helps to have 3 areas that you can really fit those things in, and to think about it in the level of disposition and knowledge and skills. And sometimes when we're really focusing on leadership, we think about the knowledge and skills, and sometimes the disposition is not something we think on the forefront of, but man, is it important. It's so important to think about that area. Nice job. How about group number 5? Oh, I love that hand one. That's so cool.
All right, so I'll just explain each photo. So starting with the blue sky, we talked about just being open-minded to ideas, even if ideas seem like, oh, well, maybe that idea wouldn't work right away, not throwing that idea out, just keeping that blue sky kind of brainstorming mindset, and being open to venturing through ideas rather than immediately shutting them down. Then underneath that picture, we talked about just, you have to have that charisma, that being able to entertain a little bit to keep your students engaged, or to keep any kind of audience engaged. We all, whether we realize it or not, we're all actors or actresses.
Sure.
And so that represented sort of the entertainment side. And then underneath that are a picture of connecting with someone else, having that empathy, even if you don't think the same way. And then moving along the bottom, the girl wearing all the different kinds of hats that, we all understand that teaching is not just one thing. And if you don't know how to do something, you learn it really quick. And it becomes part of something that you know how to do, which goes into the next photo, which is the tool belt. And that you acquire different tools and you have those tools that are your favorites, or maybe you come across something where you need to learn how to use a new tool, and then you master that tool and it gets put in that tool belt, and that we all have different tool belts. And that kind of goes back to the blue sky and understanding that everybody's tool belts look different, and
Yes.
being open to using everybody's tools and not just your own. And then moving up from that is the graphic that you said that you liked, and that's just support. Just being open to supporting people and lots of people possibly at once. And then moving towards the center, we have lots of things going on in our center, but with the branches, the person in our group who suggested the branches was that the roots could represent resources, those nutrients and things that you glean from, which could connect to the research that we've been talking about. And then the top, collaboration. So using those resources and then branching out to the folks around you who are professionals as well. And then in the center of that, just you have to have a heart for people. You have to have a heart for your students. If you don't have that love component, you could be the best leader. But I feel like, and we felt like in education that love is a pretty big part of it. And then behind all of it is the time that it takes to do it.
I love the layering.
And I didn't realize that it's spiraling down. So it's just an endless loop of time, but that it takes, and we all know that it takes more time than most people realize to accomplish all the things that we're talking about today. So.
Absolutely. And the whole idea of the rock star over here, like being an entertainer, is that being a leader, being a teacher leader, there are days that I know all of you have that, you don't feel like coming in front of a group of kids,
Right.
but you still do, you still show up. You've got a million things going on in your personal lives and your home lives. You don't feel well, whatever. So it is part of that. That's part of that whole thing, is being able to like shrug it off and be able to go in and do that. So I really love the idea that, yeah, we are entertainers. And we do have to have charisma to bring people to our side. I would love this. Such a great graphic. Thank you so much.
Of course.
And group 6.
So ours is more words than anything else.
That's okay.
And a lot of the stuff that we have put on here, everybody else has said too, but something that is a little bit different is like the willingness to share for us was important, as well as everything else that you see on the screen, but that having that ability to share, build a community, and be a facilitator of learning was very important. And then this infographic that we have on here is from KDE on what they view as a teacher leader.
Love that.
And so we just felt like all of what you all have said, but adding to what everybody else has said, not to take up more time to repeat.
Thank you. Time management is really good as a teacher leader as well, right? But that willingness to share is tough. I think we've all been victims of someone taking our work and pawning it off as their own. And then that gives you a sour taste of things to share, whatever, or you've been shut down, or you've been in a bad situation where your voice was either not heard or you weren't able to share at all. So that is something that we have to continually pull out, is that willingness to share our successes, our failures, our materials, our resources, our stories, ourselves. As students, they love to hear about your personal life. And in order to lead, we still have to be able to share that personal experience of us and bear it so that people can feel like they can connect to us. There's another. Is this group 7?
It is.
Sorry, I was thinking we were done for some reason. I don't know what happened there. Group 7, yay. They're like, we forgot.
Sam. Oh, there he is.
The one on the screen is group 10. Oh no, it's group 7. Sorry, slide number 10. I'm confused. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
All right. So ours, we kind of went a different way about how to start it out. We kind of did like the word cloud thing. We didn't talk about what we wanted to put on there before we did it. We just all found pictures, put them on there.
Love that
And
though.
so it's interesting that several of us came up with the idea of collaboration as one of the most important things. Like the high five and the bottom left collaboration, the puzzle pieces, the people in the meeting with the word
Yeah.
heads. So that was one that a lot of us kind of picked out as being an important aspect of a teacher leader. The other ones, some of them are kind of self-explanatory. They've got words on them that say what they are, the vision, the resources. The mirror on the bottom is reflection. We thought that was important to be able to think about what it is you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're doing it. And then the skydiving one is for risk-taking, which is another important one to make sure that you go outside your comfort zone a little bit and do things you're not always the same thing you're always doing.
I
Love
would
it.
like to add that I like how all the groups, we kind of all had the same words, but no group used the same pictures. And I thought that's really interesting considering we probably were searching keywords and stuff, but still all came up with different pictures in our groups.
Sorry, my daughter was having a crisis. My daughter is having a crisis morning. So and she does not care that I'm on a meeting. She is 10 and she doesn't care. I don't know where she gets it from. Anyway, but you're right. That is so cool that everybody had the same words, but everyone had the different pictures. And I'll tell you one thing I love too on this that I want to pull out. One is the idea of the skydiving and the risk taking, but that you have the tandemness of that risk taking, because really being a leader is taking risks, but also doing it with support and with the thought of someone else and in that kind of mode. And the mirror is almost like you knew what I was going into next. It was like we planned this, because we do have to be able to look at ourselves and reflect on reflection period, but also to look at ourselves and to see what we see inside of us and be willing to kind of open ourselves up to say, I'm really good at this. I need support on this. So having said that, we are going to wrap together the next activity with a break as well, because we all need to be mindful of bio needs. All right. So on your action agenda, and I will go ahead and put the link in as well, is Am I a Teacher Leader Survey? So I'm going to copy the link and put it in the chat. And this is a survey that's going to be in Google Forms. It looks like this. And it has questions for you. And you're going to answer in a multiple choice area of strongly disagree down to strongly agree. And these are just questions about yourself, okay? And then we're going to kind of take a look at where we stand at the end of it. So I would like for you, it's 1:54. Let's come back at 2:06, and that will give you 12 minutes to take the survey and to go get a drink and go to the restroom and all those kinds of things like that. So at 2:06, let's come back.
Hey, Deborah. How do I'm having trouble getting that link. I have my phone going and I have this up on the computer as well. Could you like email it to me?
Can I email it to you? I sure can.
Okay.
Email address, yeah.
Do you need me to?
Can you put your email address in the chat for me?
Sure. Yes.
All right.
That'd be
Absolutely.
the easiest. That's a strange name.
No, it's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, I had a situation there. I had my daughter crying on one side. I put mint in my mouth. I choked on it, started coughing. It was a mess here for like 10 minutes. It was a Saturday Live episode. Okay. Yeah, I will get that to you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Then, they might put themselves into the place of those soldiers, and they will say what they think those soldiers would have said, or what those soldiers would have thought.
It's going said, it's going fantastic, Deb. Sorry, I'm unmuted and muted back. So
That's quite all right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
worked well so far, I think. I'm glad. It's gracious. I got choked, man.
I can already see this is going to be a fantastic group of leaders we've got in our Renaissance grant. So, I mean, highly engaged and on top of it. So great,
The
great group.
creativity.
I know,
Absolutely.
I've been reading
Look at
through
that
the
sweet little
tweets,
Windy
too.
King down there. Windy King popping in.
Yeah.
I'm popping in because y'all are having way too much fun over here.
It's true. Could you hear us?
I could hear you.
You know why, Wendy? Because
Why?
my daughter was throwing a fit, crying, didn't care that I was on a meeting. I took a mint in my mouth. I got choked, started coughing. I mean, like, all hell broke loose for about 5 minutes there.
Well, I thought, golly, I'm stopping this meeting. I'm coming over here where all the fun's at. So
I just want to say, welcome to Debbie Cullen.
I warned this group. I told them, did I not give you all fair warning?
I don't know what's going on with that daughter of mine, but I'm telling you one thing. She has been a handful, like even more so this last week. She'll get in the car and she'll go, well, I cried twice today at school. I said, well, okay. I said, they had a field trip to a bowling alley. And I said, well, why are you crying on a field trip day? And she said, well, first of all, the little kids got to go first. And second of all, my bowling team was not very supportive of me. What is she talking about? I bully her every day. Why would she expect something? I don't know. Maybe it's hormonal or something. I don't know, but she is, I mean, woo. I've raised boys, but this girl thing's a whole different ball game, people.
Deb, are you familiar with Leanne Morgan, the comedian?
Yeah. Yes.
This reminds me of some of her conversations.
That's not the first time I've been told that.
Yeah.
I saw her in concert. She's great.
I bet it would be great to see her in person.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I'm
She's
telling
so
you one
funny.
thing. I used to do this thing, Coffee with Deb, and I still do a little bit of it every once in a while. But many of my stories came from Kentucky adventures. Like the time I had a fight with a bidet in a hotel room. Do you remember that one, Wendy?
I remember that one. That's probably one of my favorites. That and you getting locked in the bathroom.
I got locked in the bathroom of a school. Which school was it, Wendy?
That was Knox County Middle School. So all my Knox County people, she was locked in the bathroom at the library and yelling for help.
You can't. I mean, it's like Fort Knox in there. Like there's nobody in the window because I thought, well, I'm gonna have to jump out and see, but I didn't realize I was on the 3rd floor. And then I thought, well, eventually somebody will either have to go to the bathroom or realize I'm gone.
We've had some good adventures together.
We really have.
So I do believe the bidet is in Lee County, if I'm not mistaken. It's at
You're
and
absolutely right.
Yes, I know. People would be shocked at that. They're like, Lee County has a motel with a bidet. We do. So there you go. We're that cultured here.
They are that cultured. It was at is it the Chocolat?
Chocolat, yep.
Chocolat?
Yes.
Chocolat Inn.
And so they have rooms there that they have transferred into, like they have like a little coffee shop or whatever. And then they have rooms that they've transferred, like one's the London room, one is the like a Japanese kind of thing or whatever. And so I was in the Japanese room and it was gorgeous. I mean, just beautiful. And so they had this beautiful like hot tub, bathtub with essential oils. I mean, it's just a delight. It really is. So there was a bidet in there. And I'm like, listen, because if anybody, my nickname is Grace because I have messed up everything. I've fallen off stages. I mean, I am a mess. And I thought, man, I just hate to leave here without trying that bidet. So it is an electric bidet and it literally has like a whole panel of buttons. Like I'm telling you what, this could have literally made you a sandwich if you push the right button. So I'm trying to figure it out. It won't work. So I stand up, I'm getting ready to go to a school and I'm in a complete business suit, right? I stand up and all of a sudden the thing starts working and it's shooting everywhere. The water is shooting everywhere. And it's like this, it's one of these like, I mean, this is a brand new place. It's all over the drywall, the ceiling. I don't know what to do. And the only thing I can figure out is to lean over the toilet or the bidet and unplug it, and it's like shooting in the face. I unplug it finally, and I stand there, and I am literally like, it's part of my hair, my entire was. It was the most. Oh my gosh! It was the most. That's my first and only experience with bidet, and I am leaving them alone.
You know, I hate to tell you, I forgot to pause the recording during this, and I'm so glad. This will be one that people can come back and revisit.
Oh, Lordy, Lordy. I tell you what. If you ever get to go to Chocolat, it's
I'm going.
Nice.
I'm just telling you, it's just about 3 miles out the road for me. So three and a half. So.
Well, it's this sweet little couple. I mean, they're a real young couple, and they had like, you get breakfast. It's like a bed and breakfast kind of thing. And you get this beautiful bread. They have great pastries, great coffees, whatever. And literally, like you said, it was one of my favorite places I've ever stayed.
Wow. I had no idea.
I know. It's like just this little best kept secret.
I love it.
Just watch out for the bidet is all I want to say.
Did you write a review? Because I want to go read that.
I should do a TripAdvisor thing.
But you'd have to say, but it was all on me.
It was all my fault. Well, they even had like little handmade soaps from the area. A lady was making the soaps for them, and they had, like I said, essential oils and bath, and I mean, a beautiful little room that you could sit in, and it had coffees, different kind of coffees and teas. And I mean, they're really, really very into making people feel very welcome there. So it was great. They just took an old motel and created this little bed and breakfast kind of thing. So
it's a great idea.
Really neat. So we have a couple more minutes for people to take their break. Oh, goodness gracious. That's a good laugh.
Well, Dr. Evans, are there any other hidden gems there in Lee County?
Probably so. I would have to reflect on that, though.
It's just every day for you. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, I discovered it just because anytime before I traveled a lot before COVID. And I don't like to do, chains and Main Street play. Like if I can go and experience something of the local culture, I love to do that. And that's found that out. And it was just so neat. It was so neat.
Yeah, I would like that a lot. I used to travel a lot too. And I tell you, people started, so you get to know people a little bit.
Sure.
And someone might say, hey, the next time you're up here, won't you stay with us? And I started going, okay.
I know, absolutely.
And I love doing that. Now, sometimes you're like, I'm kind of anxious to get out of here tomorrow. But,
right.
but if, it was an interesting thing to do from time to time.
I was going to go to one of Wendy's son's baseball games one time, and then something happened. I couldn't. But yeah, I met Wendy and Jim through this work, and I consider them absolutely, family, if nothing else. They have always been so good to me.
We feel that's the way about you, Deb. 100%.
Thank you.
Absolutely. See, Deb and I go back to where I was superintendent Lee. She did many, many, many trainings in Lee County, some of the best. And so that's how we became good friends. And of course, I went to everything that she did in Lee County.
Did.
Yeah, I was at everything.
He was the most interactive superintendent I've ever been around. He was at every one of my trainings. It was just so refreshing to see a superintendent that involved in what was going on in the individual schools. It was pretty amazing.
So we've been able to reconnect through this work. So it's been awesome.
It really has. It
Yep.
really has. Okay, welcome back. I hope everyone's refreshed and reflected. And so let's just take a look real quick at those questions in that questionnaire. Now, those questions were not my questions. I pulled them out of other different questions to ask yourselves or whatever. I am on Twitter, Josh. It's at EngTeach98, ENGTEACH 98. So let's take a look at those questions. Like in my last session, one of the gentlemen said about like open doors or whatever. Safety is different now. So I think figuratively thinking about, is your door open to people being, involved in your world, is really more the reflection with that. So let me share the screen real quick. And I want to just look at the responses. Now, this is the same one I used this morning and this afternoon. So we've had 63 teachers responding to this, and just looking down and seeing that a lot are really feeling very good about themselves as far as being teacher leaders, or at least exhibiting those kinds of things about being a teacher leader. The one thing I really love about using something like this is that if I am beginning as a principal, a superintendent, or a PLC leader, to really start thinking about honing that climate for teacher leadership, then this kind of thing can really help me to take a look. So if I give this to my teachers or my students even, I can look down and see what people feel are their strong points and what people feel are their weaker areas, or that they need more help in. And this really gives me a great data set of being able to say, okay, here's where we feel we are. Let's see where our areas of improvement are, and let's provide some professional development or some opportunities for people to hone in on those skills. So it is a twofold thing, and I love that, because teachers are busy and we need to be able to do things that have multiple outcomes in one. So this is an opportunity to reflect and put myself in a mirror and see who I am and what kind of things I possess, but also to use as an overarching thing to see where I can really focus my efforts on to establish that leadership kind of deal. Oh, thank you, Jackie, for putting that in there. So I'm looking at lots of different areas, and it looks like people are feeling pretty solid. This is a great group. Now, at the bottom, I just put two open-ended questions. One is, what do you feel are your strengths in regards to being a teacher leader? And being techie, that is huge right now. Being able to do lots of jobs in a technical way. And that's something that I always encourage teachers, even though we're back in the classroom most of the time now, don't forget about those things that we used in virtual that can still help us do jobs more efficiently in person. Flexibility, being involved, thinking outside the box, that's a huge one. Eager to serve. Really being able to listen to problems or successes, patience, huge, empathy, enthusiasm, awesome. And then we have some greatest needs. And I love that people are so honest about these things. And this is a great way to do it, because it's going to be anonymous. So people feel like they can be freely to express themselves. Someone thinks that they need to be better at speaking up when they need to. Staying positive, having overall time management organization. Like to be better about finding new content to inject in my teaching. So this was a great opportunity for us to really take a look at ourselves in that mirror that we had on number 7's infographic. Nice work. So let's debrief a little bit. What are your thoughts and feelings on doing an activity like that in your class or in your school or in your PLC? Just unmute and talk to me if you can, or if you want to.
I think a tool like that is a great way to find a starting point with a PLC. If you're in a group and you don't have a PLC going and you're trying to find what to focus on for that, because I know a lot of us are just assigned, okay, you're in a PLC, now find something to work on.
Exactly.
It's a great way. It doesn't waste anybody's time. It's anonymous. And it's data driven, which is big for PLC, right? And it's their data. So I think this is a really cool tool to use for groups that are may have less experience with getting a PLC going and finding that focus.
I love that, Cassandra. Thank you. And like I wanted to point out too, and the reason I did it this way is that I was able to pick off questions that were already written, added some of my own. So it's not something that even takes a lot of time to generate or build. You don't have to reinvent the wheel in doing these kinds of things. Use what's out there and tweak it to make it work for you. Anyone else on the debrief? Okay, so let's keep rocking and rolling. And I'm definitely going to run out of time later on, but that's okay. You have all the information materials that you can go back if we don't get to everything today. So let's do a Mentimeter real quick. Just another interactive. And this is a graphic that was pulled from a research-based document about teacher leadership. And it's kind of one of those things, of course, it's not exhaustive at all. It's just a table that we can use. But this is where we're looking at, either we're looking at ourselves or we're looking at other people in our school in regards to teacher leadership and finding people who would be good to either put into leadership areas or people who we want to invest our time in to become better leaders for future situations. So it is focused in entry, emerging, advanced, and accomplished. Okay, so just remember those and just kind of take a look at each one of these. Thinking about your self-reflection, where do you think you would be if we were using this graphic? Would you be entry, emerging, advanced, and accomplished? Now, one of the things that you always have to make sure people understand, is entry bad? No, entry is not bad at all. It depends on where we're going. We all have multiple starting points at things. An entry level simply means that this is where you are and this is where you need to go. Is accomplished perfect? Absolutely not. Once again, we have to look at these things in light of where people are starting. Exactly, Josh, you have to start somewhere. I love that. That's a great way of putting it. So thinking about this, let's go to our next Slido. It is the same code as last time, or you can go ahead and scan that again. But after your self-reflection survey, what do you feel like your current performance level as a teacher is? 1 is emerging, 2 is, I forget which one it was. Oh no, 1 is entry, 2 emerging, 3 advanced, 4 is the accomplished one. You're absolutely right, Christy. That is a very true statement. We've got 16 people and we're really looking at most of us being in that emerging and advanced area. We have some people in our accomplished. That's awesome. Those of us who have spent some time as leaders. Oh, somebody changed their mind. They're like, nope, I'm not. If they're like, no, if somebody finds out that's me, they're going to give me more work. So forget it. I'm changing my answer.
I'll have to explain.
I love that. Got about 24 people who are in. And once again, if you can't access this right now, it's okay. You can put it in the chat if you want to. I don't want anyone to feel that they're left out. A couple more seconds. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of people are in that area of advanced. Some people are into the emerging, and I love this. That's exactly right. So it's really important to see the starting point that you're at. And one of the points that was made in the chat by Christy is that really as a whole, you're going to be in each one of these at some point in some area. You know, it could be a different level for a type of leadership, and then it could be in another one. You know, you may be really, really efficient in the area of data, but not so efficient in the area of something else. For me, one of my weaknesses is delegation, because I like to go ahead and get everything done. Why wait around for someone else to do it? Because my kids will not if I don't. that comes from being a single mother of 3 kids, I think, is doing that. But I do have a hard time delegating. So I have to know those kinds of things in order to be a good leader. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. So we are going to take a look at, and I think I am going to skip over this one for just a moment because I would really love to get into our Jamboards. So we're going to go to, first and foremost, something called a root cause analysis, okay? And I want to talk about that area because sometimes there are areas that can be potential barriers to us being able to do leadership into our classroom or into our schools. And what I mean by that is when we really start thinking about the idea of distributing leadership, and we'll go back and look at that again, but basically not just delegating leadership to get something done. Like it's not the idea of, okay, I'm the mom, you do the dishes, you mop the floor, you clean the bathroom, and now we're going to be done. It's the idea of looking at the individual entities of our organization and saying, this person is really good at this. They would be great to lead that. This person is better at that than me. So I'm going to let that go and let them do it. So in the ideas of that kind of leadership, here are some of the barriers that could present themselves. Once again, like an administrator's willingness to let go, changing school culture, time for developing leadership skills. So I want to think, I'm going to transition a little bit to not only just what a teacher leader looks like and what kind of skills we possess, but what are other barriers that could keep us from doing this? Reason being is that we need to do as a part, if you looked at the very beginning of our problem solving process, in that plan area is an area of root cause analysis. And this is where we take either a problem of practice or an aspiration and really try to hone down to the minute areas of what makes it not done yet. So the first one we're going to talk about today is a 5 whys. And the 5 whys, this particular one is actually pulled from a problem-solving process where people in Washington were trying to figure out how to maintain and preserve the monuments because they were starting to deteriorate. So this is a huge problem. These are national treasures and they are starting to deteriorate and they are sitting down thinking, okay, this is huge. What are we going to do? So they use this 5 whys, and 5 whys to me is where we channel our inner 2-year-old. Those of you who have had a 2-year-old or have one now, are you not inundated every day by why? Yes, it's annoying. However, the little buggers are brilliant because that's how we get to the root cause. So let's take a look inside the thought process of trying to figure out how to maintain our monuments in Washington, D.C. by answering 5 questions. The first question, why are we in a state of deterioration as it is? Because we have to use harsh chemicals to clean the monuments. Why do we have to use harsh chemicals to clean those monuments? Because there's a large number of bird droppings on the monument. We've all seen that before. Why are there a large number of bird droppings on the monument? Because there's a large population of spiders around the monuments, and that is a food source to local birds. Well, why is there a large population of spiders? Are you getting that 2-year-old thing yet going? Why is there a large population of spiders around the monuments? Because there's vast swarms of insects on which the spiders feed that are drawn to the monument at dusk. Why are there swarms of insects drawn to the monument at dusk? Because the lighting of the monument in the evening attracts the local insects. So that big, huge problem of being able to keep our monuments from deteriorating can literally be brought down to changing lighting. That's huge. That is something that's manageable. To think about the process of keeping huge monuments and many of them from deteriorating can all come down to simply changing the lighting of something. This is a fantastic thing that you can use with students. You can use it in your personal life. You can use it with your own children, whatever. But simply by asking around 5 questions, you start to get to the root cause of why it's not happening yet, because we want to have a growth mindset. Another way to do it, and you've probably all seen this, is something called a fishbone, where you put the problem in the fish head. You put problems that are things that contribute to it. And then you get down to the causes of why those. So when we have student tardiness, we're seeing that it could be student apathy, parent apathy, family obligations. And then underneath those, why are students apathetic? Staying up too late, making extra stops before school, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just, once again, really honing in on the problems and why they're happening, and then being able to pick a little one out and be able to address that as we go. So let's go back into our action agendas. And this is where you're going to be able to have a conversation with one another. So we're going to go back into our same breakout rooms. And here are the links. And I think that someone may have accidentally gone into number 7. I may have to go in and clean that one up because I think we had an accident there. But when you go into your rooms, the same rooms you had last time, remember your number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You will have a Jamboard that goes with each one of these. So you open up your Jamboard, okay? If you haven't used Jamboard before, Jamboard is a free app through Google that you can use to do interactivity with your groups. This can be done face-to-face or virtually. And I made one of them and then simply went over here, made a copy of it and labeled it something different. So it's one of those things, once again, that you can make and use with lots of people. So as a group, you're going to kind of just go through and you're going to look at some of these questions, thinking about your school as a whole. Now, I never thought about this, but some of you may be wanting to work with your certain school. Jackie, are we able to like maybe recreate those rooms where they can pick their own rooms?
Well, I opened it up and they're, let's see, they're already in those same rooms.
If you go to recreate,
okay.
I think that we can, if you hit recreate.
Oh, let participants choose room.
Yeah.
When you asked me if they could, you knew they could. So do you, how many
Well,
rooms do you want?
I know they could, but I meant like now. I'm leading you to the answer.
I know you are. I appreciate it. And why would we need these rooms though? How many would you?
Why do we need to open those rooms up? I love you already.
7.
7 rooms and let them, so that way you can choose so that you can be in school teams, okay? Because these really kind of go around the idea of schools. Then when you go through here, you can kind of answer these questions. Now, if you look to the side, if you've not, once again, if you've not used Jamboard before, you can use sticky notes, type in, and once you say something, you can move the sticky note around, whatever. You can also do typing. You can also do pen, whatever you want to do, but you can do this however you want. So this allows you all to either talk about it, start putting up ideas, things like that. Then there's also an area after you finish your questions about where you can do a root cause analysis. So as you talk and you go through those questions, maybe picking one area of that you could do a root cause analysis with together and be able to kind of solve those processes. Also, there's an area if you want to do a fishbone as well. So once again, you're going to go into your rooms. And once you have gotten into your rooms, whatever number you're in is the number of Jamboard that you will click on in this section. And okay, so they're all deciding who they want to go with right now.
Yeah, you know how when you're like kids were getting ready to choose a room, they're like, you, me, you, me, you. They're doing
it's gonna be me, it's gonna be you, it's gonna be me. So I think that I'm gonna have to go clean up number 7 real quick, but that's okay, because the last team got into the wrong place from the morning. So I'm just gonna clean that up. Okay, so questions, comments, concerns, snide remarks, funny faces, rude gestures, anything like that. Song request, I'll sing, I don't care. Okay. Go ahead and get into your rooms. If you need any help, either pop back in or ask for help at the bottom, and one of us will come in and assist you.
Can I ask Rockcastle folks real quick? Because there's a lot, I think there's 4 of us here maybe. What room are you guys going into?
It's telling me to wait to be assigned.
Yeah.
Well,
it does.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Just
Yeah,
click
mine
on
says the same
breakout
thing.
rooms on the bottom.
Yeah, if you go down to the breakout
Oh.
rooms, scroll all the way down,
Join.
and there should be able to be joined. So for Rock Castle,
Cassie and Carrie and I think Robin. Let's just say room 7 for Rock Castle. Why not?
And Rachel, yeah, there's, yes.
Okay.
Room 7, thank you.
they're getting it now.
Yeah, they're starting to go. Okay.
Yes, do you want to go to room 5? It looks empty.
I'm good with whatever. Just tell me how to get there.
That's me.
Go on the breakout room button and then click join in room 5.
Say that again, Greta.
And Melissa,
Where
if
is
you
that
want, I can put you in there,
breakout?
Melissa.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
Melissa, you want to go to room 5, honey?
Yes, please.
I'll
Thank
put
you.
you in room 5. There you go.
And Robin Nairn also, please.
I'm doing this on an iPad and I don't have that option. Would somebody
Who's-
put me in room 6, please?
Who's that?
It's,
Alan.
Alan? Yes,
Yeah.
room 6.
Thank
Susan, do you
you.
want to join too with Audrey? Because I know she's from Estill. So Susan, we could go to 2.
And Robin Nairn to group room 5, please.
Oh, you're faster than I am.
They are getting it.
They are getting it.
Perfect.
Christy Sally needs help.
Valerie, are you, do you need help getting into a room?
I'm not sure how to get into the room.
Okay, what room do you need to be in?
Oh, I just found a little thing. I'll go to the room now.
Okay. Robin?
I'm still not in a room. Room 5.
Room 5. I'll put you right there, my friend.
Thank you so much. Now
Absolutely.
Thank
Shalita?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, what room do you want to be in, honey?
I put myself, hold on just a second. See, I've got my computer going and my phone, and I turned it on the computer because I can't see. My phone's so small and my eyesight's bad. But here's the, and I put myself in the room with a couple ladies that were just by themselves. But my husband does have a microphone out here, but it must not be hooked up, so they cannot hear me.
Well, let's try to put you in there again using your phone. So maybe that's why I'm here twice. So what room do you want to go into?
Room 1.
Room 1.
Yes.
Let's try that on your phone there.
Okay.
Okay, I think they're all in rooms now. Yes. All right. You can stop the recording for a bit if you want so that they don't have to have dead time.